which is now in progress. Good evening, everyone. It is Tuesday, December 27th of 2022. I am your host, Jordan. I will be your instructor for today as we go over Django views. Views, oh, I wanted to pull something up before I did this. That's okay. Views are what is going to actually be, I would say, the last function that gets hit prior to serving anything. Just double checking. I'm sharing my screen, right? We're looking at curriculum and VS Code.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to double check myself. I'm pretty sure it's called MRC or MVC. Yeah, model view controller. Django's a framework. There are a lot of ways to do these things. And these things as in build a front-facing website with URLs, with functions that are run, with templates that provide the data of these functions and do different things. There's a lot of ways to do it. This is how Django does it. This is why it's called a framework. We're going to be building this out the way Django says. And if you don't like it, that's okay. Go play in Flask. Flask lets you do whatever you want. But there's a lot of benefit in following the rules. And we've talked about it before, but I'll just hit on it again. It is easy to find issues when you know exactly how a website or a project should be developed. And maintaining consistency and convention will go a long way. If you don't like it, if you want to be more of a cowboy, that's fine. But we're going to teach you this because it's a little bit easier to build out you all doing the exact same thing. So looking at the lecture for today, there's not much. It's just this picture. Talking about this picture, a client will make a request to URLs. Keep that in mind. URLs.py is going to be serving, the URLs. That's the first thing. It's basically when you hit this URL, where do we go next? It points it to views. Views is going to be what you're, I don't want to say viewing, but I guess that's technically correct. But it's going to be a mixture of models.py, which we will not be touching today, and template.html. We're going to be taking stuff from the database. We're taking stuff from HTML, putting them together and serving them back to the client as a view. That'll be what's known as a response. Since there is no lecture prepared for today, I have prepared something I think that is not very complicated. It's just adding one more step to the puzzle, which you may or may not already feel good on, but we're going to run through it. You can't run through Django too many times. In fact, I didn't check. Yeah, no, we should be good. Yeah, we won't even be touching database stuff right now. We're going to give you, you've been working with the ORM, you've been doing validations, associations. Ignore some of that for today. We're just going to be talking about the views. And then tomorrow, we're really going to be pulling all this together. So this is kind of just one of the last pieces. So let's get started. I've got an empty directory here. I have no virtual environment set, so I'm going to create one. We're going to be building, what are we doing today? We're building a website for Squid. It's extremely simple. It's literally just some HTML and some JSON. Not complicated, but I want you to see how the views work. Create a virtual environment. Enter it. Great. I'm going to copy paste some things, so I'll mess it up. We're going to pip install Django. We're going to pip install Django-admin. It's something I want you all to get in the habit of using. Just get kind of used to installing them together. Because we're going to be using Django-admin to start this project, which gives us a few extra tools with the administration panel, I believe. That will come later. So we've seen different ways to start Django projects. This is yet another way to do it. We're just going to call it my site. What's going on here? Did it not like Django admin? Django admin work with Python 3.7. Didn't install correctly. Man, what's going on? Oh, says okay, I don't know what's mad about. Cool. All right, we've got a project called My Site. Just to get in the habit. Let's pip freeze our stuff in requirements.txt. So anyone coming after us can see you need all these things to run this project. Easy peasy. We'll leave it up there and go to my site. Here we are. We've seen this before. We've got manage.py as well as a few other things built in here we've seen before. The big ones I want you to focus on today, settings.py and urls.py. That's all we're touching. These others are configuration pieces. This has just got to be there. So that's all we'll be touching. I'm going to create an app using manage.py. I'm going to, oh, I didn't save the command I need. All right, what can manage.py do again for us? Start app. Okay, so I'm going to use it to start an app. I forgot the command. And I'm going to call it Squid Stuff. Squid's my dog. This is his website. We've got app kind of things in here. It looks similar to our main project level with the addition of models, tests, and we've got views built in here. If I split this into two, and activate my virtual environment in here, all I'm doing is opening a second terminal. Don't freak out. I just want two of them running at one time, and I have to, since it's a new shell, it's not in the same virtual environment. So I've got two different shells, both in the virtual environment. They're working from the same place. If that confuses anyone, stop me now. I'll explain it. But this is the same as opening a terminal in VS Code and then one in iTerm 2. I just want them both here. So we're going to run this server and hopefully, oh wait, did I do everything right just yet? No, because I created this app, if I want to run it within the scope of this project, we just need to open up the settings of my site, which is the project, and add this app to the installed apps. So squids stuff. All right. Now that that's done, we will leave this one here at this level, and we will be running Python manage.py run server, which will start up our server. I know y'all seen the live server tool for VS Code. That's fine and dandy. You can use that if you want. I like using the real deal. I don't want to use some live server thing that's built into VS Code. I'd like to see it, running and working as Django intended, but feel free to use that if you do like it. But it already should be auto updating things anyways. There's not a major need for that. Okay, so I want some URLs for this site. I want them specific to Squid's stuff, not to the main projects. This is going to be related to Squid stuff. You'll notice there's no urls.py built into Squid stuff. That's totally okay. We'll use the UI. urls.py within Squid stuff. You can all see it pop up here. We're done with settings for now. There it is. So what I want to do with this is not rewrite all this. We're going to do a few things. So we've got our views and we've got Django.urls tools, which are giving us this path. Because we will be using it. So what Django is looking for when it looks at this urls.py file is a single variable, maybe others, but for right now, just one. It's called URL patterns. I've got 3 URLs here. I've got just regular path. This is going to point to something we haven't built yet, but that's okay. But in views, I'm going to have one called index, and I'm going to call it index. You don't have to name them all the same thing each time. You can give them a different name of a different function if you would so choose. Or they don't even have to match up to the URL you've used. But you know what? This keeps it real simple, and you don't have to go guessing. Oh, well, did I name the URL food underscore list, or did I name what was the function food underscore list? But I gave a different name. While doing all that and knowing and maybe changing all 3 of these to different things will give you a better understanding of where stuff's coming from and what it actually is referring to. But you can save yourself a lot of pain by just kind of following a standard like this. It's not always going to work out for you. Sometimes the URL is going to need to be named something else, but I think this is the easiest way to do it. So this is how I'm going to show you to do it today. So Squid's got, we're just going to leave this one blank, I think, or at least leave it. No, maybe we are going to do something. Let me remind myself. Oh yeah, we're just going to have a basic landing page. So we've got our URLs, but we don't have any views actually set up for those. So we'll go to views within Squid stuff, and we will add some things. So we've dealt with a little bit of this before. We're just going to be importing HTTP response as well as Django.shortcuts import render. Render will help us render a template using Python. We can put Python into our templates and render some JSON, render some Jinja templating HTML files. So did I do this one right? I did break my path here just because I didn't have anywhere for the path. I'm just going to leave this as index and index, but we will call this first one index. So all I want to do is make a function called index. So when they visit this URL, they're going to go to views.index, and this is going to be called the index URL. So it takes the request. It's just going to return this response. Simple. This is Squid's web page. We could put HTML in here. We're just going to do it very, very simply. These other ones are just as simple. Toy list. When you hit the toy list path, you're going to go to views.toylist, and this URL is named toy list for all of Django. Simple. One more, because I feel like doing it. I could have just got away with 2, but toy list is not going to be useful. Oops, that's not right. Copied the wrong one. Food list, which we'll actually be using. Great. What I should be doing now is testing these URLs as I built them, which I got a little ahead of myself. But let's try them out. One last thing, though. These URLs are associated with Squid's stuff, meaning you can't just go to toy list because that doesn't exist. These are all prepended by whatever's in, basically you got to point it towards Squid stuff. This right here at the highest level is looking at my site. So we're going to need to add something within my site's URLs, get rid of all that. And what we will do is this, I will show you. I just want path and I just want include. And we'll be doing this. Still pathing it out. However, the only paths I'm building in now are going to point at squidstuff.url. So I don't have to do this. I could make this, the main site if I wanted to. I could get rid of that and say, hey, you don't need to put it in Squid stuff to go to these URLs, but I'm going to just to keep, oopsies. Oh, how do you control this? There we go. So if you go to this path now, Ooh, there's our index page. So top level urls.py, I'm just pointing it at Squid Stuff. This is good. It's plugged in. We're all connected. I verified it. Let's not look at that anymore. Let's go back to our URLs and follow the list. So path, nothing, but path is Squid Stuff because that is referring to everything in Squid Stuff at the top level URL. If I want to see toy list, easy. I can just add it to the end of this. And hopefully it takes us somewhere. Squid's list of toys. Our views. Yep, that's what it does. List of toys. Looks good. Lastly, we'll just verify the food list is there as well. Not complicated website, easy peasy. But it's for my dog, so it doesn't need to be that complicated. Any questions so far? We're about to add one tiny layer of complexity.
Do you mind showing us again the urls.py in the project in my site?
Can I show you what?
The urls.py file in your project folder, which I believe is my site. Yeah, that one.
Yep, top level.
I didn't see that one. Okay.
Yep. So all it's doing is using.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be using include to include the application .urls. So that's telling it, hey, look in this application, go to urls.py, and that's what you'll be serving if anyone goes to localhost or whatever your website's called /squids stuff.
Cool, thanks.
Yep. So I said we were going to add a layer of complexity. I mean, so just barely. Have y'all seen templates yet? Am I teaching you something new? I don't know if I am. Templates is a folder where we're going to put our templates. Django's looking for it. We don't have to go say, hey, it's in templates. It just knows to go look in templates. And I'll show you how. So here in Squid Stuff, I want to create a folder. Well, templates. Within templates, we could create more folders. We could say all of the different things that Squid's food detail and list, like collaboration, whatever you want to call it. But we're not going to go any deeper than that. This is a simple website. Within templates, I'm just going to create a new file called foodlist.html, as well as toys.html. Within these two bad boys, let's throw some templating. This is the food list template. We'll do the same in toys. So now we've got these HTML files that are just sitting here, but we can plug them in. So if we go to, let's close out the stuff we're not using. We don't want that anymore. These are open for now. Yeah. So let's go back to views. We can point these towards those templates, which I will show you how to do once I remind myself. Yep. So we've got this render module here. We can leverage that in the following manner. Instead of returning this HTTP response, let's instead return render. We will return a request. And this toys list.html. Notice I don't have to do templates.html. It already knows where it's at. In fact, if I pick one, maybe VS Code's not that smart. Oh, okay, VS Code's not that smart. I don't have to do this. It's called templates. If I did have something else in there, if I had the like Squid's main something else, I don't know. I could do anything else like toy templates. I would need to template that out if these went any deeper, but they don't. This will point it at templates. Easy peasy. That should give us the toy list. HTML. We've saved that. Let's verify by going to toys list. Oh, did I mess it up? Oh, it's toy list. Notice, don't just freak out when it fails and be like, oh God, what did I do? Using this, Django tried to form a URL pattern. It's toy list, Jordan, not toys list. Very helpful, Django. That looks like an H1 in all capital letters. That is probably what is being served. I can prove it. The Unreal. Ah, there we go. Cool. So I am actually affecting it by adjusting the template. With these templates, we can play with Jinja, which I think we've done in the past. Does anyone remember what Jinja is? We've already done this, right? I think. What's Jinja? Somebody tell me. Or I won't move on.
I don't think we work with Django. Maybe we mentioned it, but
That's fine. Oh, we don't go there. Yeah, Jinja is the templating language for Python. You can template Python straight into the HTML pages. We're going to do that with food list by changing very few things. In fact, I won't just blow it all away and scare you guys. Let's what did you do? That opens up Python, doesn't it? Oh, I hate that. Oh, I don't like that. Cool. Yeah, if you hit command and enter, it does that. So we're going to rewrite food list. Technically, this is okay because it's going to be redefining it. I don't like that. Let's comment it out. We'll blow it away later. What I have done this time, I changed this to anything. That's not a good word for that. Let's call it data, I think. And then, oh, I missed one piece. Sorry. I made this maybe a little bit more complicated than I needed to, but I wanted to show some thing. Okay, so simple list here: popcorn, chips, lettuce. These are all things my dog eats on a regular basis. Don't judge me. He does eat a lot of lettuce, so it makes up for the popcorn and chips. I'm going to set that to data here with the list. The reason I could have made this, I could have broken this down. I'm being very sloppy with my code, but I want to show you. I've got a list. The way I need to present this, though, I can't just send a list to this render module function. I guess I need to make it a dictionary. It only understands dictionaries. It's got to be done that way. And then to actually to refer to it on the page, you're going to have to give it a key it can look at. I'm trying to keep it simple by saying, hey, the key is data. The value is this data here. And that is going to be the dictionary of list foods. I can simplify this. If this is not making any sense, just do it this way for now and then clean it up when you're working on it. So what I'm doing is render takes it takes more arguments, but one argument it really wants is this third one saying, hey, give me a dictionary and I will remember that. And when I'm templating this out, I'll just, I'll know that information. So we're going to send, a request back with this to foodlist.html, but we're giving it a new sweet thing here. We're giving it this dictionary object. Redundant. We're giving it this object with a key of data, and the value is going to be the list key for the list of foods. That's the way I'm going to do it. It's ugly. That's what I'm doing. So let's see that in action. We'll go to food list and update this. Where did it go? How did I lose it on this page? Great. And maybe it doesn't mess up. All right, so at the top with the food list page, that was me struggling. This here, these angle brackets, or sorry, curly braces are Jinja templating. If you want to do some functional work, if you want to do some Python, you do a curly brace and a % sign, and you do your Python. It's not exactly Pythonic as you would assume. I don't have to do a colon here, and I do in fact have to else it or end if it. If you start an if, you have to close it somewhere else. It's not exactly like Python, but we are putting Python-esque Pythonic, terminology, syntax in here, and we're using it. So this is a conditional rendering statement, and this was kind of me playing with it. But if I don't provide any data, none of this is going to show up. It's just going to give me this, there is no data tag. That was for kind of troubleshooting, and then we end this if. But if there is data, we're going to do some Python. So for food in data.list, remember we were serving it data, which is data.list right here. That will give us ideally the list of all our food and should list it out. So we got an unordered list, and we'll be listing them each as list tags here. Hopefully all this works the way I assume it's going to work. Oh, what did I mess up? Let's see. Let's double check our work.
You're looking at the toy list.
Am I? You're absolutely right. Oh, looky there. Sweet, there is data. So we've got some additional rendering going on. We've got listing out things, and look at that. I'm throwing Python straight up into my templating language, or sorry, right into my HTML, which is super handy. It should add things as we, we should be able to do anything we want with Python here. This is important because HTML doesn't really have a way to deal with data. It doesn't have dictionaries or objects. It can't loop through things on its own. It can't build stuff out, with lists very easily. And referencing our models, referencing the classes we've been building, it's a lot easier to just go Python to Python and plug that directly into the template that of the HTML. So that's why we would do that. If we wanted to add one more thing, what else do you like, Squid? What did you eat recently? Not a real bone, like a chew bone. Look at there, it pops up. If there was no data, if data was just broken, oh goodness, what? Say it's none. There is no data. Sweet. So we're conditionally rendering if there's an issue. This is nice to do for yourself. The reason you want to do things like this is because HTML is not really going to error out for you very well. If the Python's good and you send it to the page, it's very difficult to troubleshoot it, and y'all will run into this, I'm sure, as I did when I was preparing this class, because it wasn't showing anything. And I was fighting, and the reason it wasn't showing anything is because I wasn't handing it a dictionary with a key. I was just handing it just data, like just this key or this value here. And I was having a lot of trouble with it. And it wasn't showing the page. The page was just empty. I'm like, am I going crazy? So I start adding stuff to the page, and the template shows up, and it's like, okay, well, it is there. But I would say get in the habit of leveraging Jinja if statements. Oh, and so I don't blow through this too fast. If data is truthy, if it's falsy, we're getting this, just so I don't blow past that. But this is a good, easy, concise way to conditionally render things, both for troubleshooting and for, designing the page. But that's it. We have URLs that serve this URL that points to this view. That view is taking models.py and template.html. I didn't put any models.py in today. That's okay. We'll really dig into that tomorrow. We're just pulling it from template.html, and it's serving it back to the client as a response. Are there any questions about any of this? If there are no questions, I will stop sharing, stop recording. Peace.